Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good and nerdy stuff. And before we get into this podcast today, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video. And it is a special week here at Blurred Force One. We got a special guest host for this edition of the Supercast, and is returning. It's been a long time. It's been almost can you believe it's been a year? But we have Corey Roy back in the house, and we are collabing again for the Supercast, talking about all this superhero stuff. A lot of things have gone on this week. It's a pretty momentous week if you're a Marvel fan, and we're going to get into all that. But before we do, Corey, how you been, man? What you been up to that's nerdy?
Look, man, I am doing really good. Thank you, man. That was one hell of an intro. I appreciate that. You know what I've been into nerdy? Like, look, I'm a big wrestling fan, so I've been back into wrestling lately, watching WWE, playing the WWE 2K24 video game. Can't wait for 2K25. And my man Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah, he's he's Rock's cousin, right? Like he's
correct.
If y'all don't know professional wrestling, Dwayne Johnson's Samoan family, side of his family, all up in wrestling. Like literally, if you throw a wrestling boot and you will hit one of his what's the guy's name? His cousin that was in Hobbs and Shaw with him. What's his name? Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns is his cousin. What's his name? Fatu. What's his name?
He's got Jey Uso as his cousin. He's got Jimmy Uso, Rikishi from back in the Attitude Era.
Yep. Yeah, all those guys.
So many.
He got a million cousins, and they all wrestle. They all, So I haven't been into pro wrestling in a while. That's cool though. I have been, and I'm sure you have too, been watching. Spider-Man. Been catching up on Daredevil. I'm working my way through Daredevil season 2 in anticipation of Daredevil Reborn. I'm taking my sweet time. I need to get on with it because I got to watch Punisher too for it to all make sense. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it. It's really kind of tough to do that. But besides that, I also watched The Wild Robot again with my daughter on last Friday. I've said it before. It's a beautiful movie. My favorite movie of 2024. And she really loved it, and I was glad. Like, if you should watch it with your kids, it hits different. I'll say that much. I mean, they're gonna be like, "Why are you crying, Daddy?" I'm like, in fact, when I was watching it, I prefaced it. I was like, I cried when I watched this in the theater. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna cry when I'm watching. And we were actually, because she lives in another city, so we're actually on. Video chatting, and I was like, well, it's coming. And she was like, so it was definitely, it's a great time. I recommend it to everyone. If you're a parent, just be prepared. It's gonna hurt you, but in a good way. So
gonna get you in the feels. Exactly. Got me too, brother.
Exactly. It made me think about being a parent a lot. So that being said, of course, this is a Supercast. We're going to talk about superhero news. This is, like I said, a lot of stuff going on in the superhero space. Some late breaking stuff even here on this Thursday while we are recording. So these are things we're going to talk about. The boys' social media continues to win, and also be way too relevant to our society, which... Yeah, we'll talk about that and what they're up to. There's a rumor about the X-Men at Marvel Studios. I guess we'll do a little bit of speculation about what is going on over there. Rob Liefeld he's in his fifis, man.
Mm.
With regards to Marvel Studios, what's that all about? Maybe we can see what's afoot with him. Joel, Joel Schuster, the state of Joel Schuster sues WB Discovery over the release of Superman. Okay, where could that possibly lead us in the run up to that movie? There's a rumor that uh, Kevin Feige is seriously considering bringing back someone we talked about a whole year ago on this podcast. You and
Hmm.
I did. We're gonna see what's up with that, and is it even a good idea? Another rumor about when and if Miles Morales will, make his jump to live action. Then we're gonna do 2 reviews. We're gonna review the first 5 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room, the thing, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and of course Reed Richards. They were all in the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. We're gonna talk about it and the impact on the fandom, and also how excited we are for this movie. So, Corey, a lot of things to talk about. You ready to get into this, man?
I'm so excited to get into this. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. So, let's get something real quick here. I just wanted to remind everyone that The Boys is and has always been political and social satire, draped in a superhero cape. Right, like Corey, you get what I'm saying. It's kind of been
Yeah.
like that, right? And so,
Hmm.
with that being said, the Vought, social media account is fucking amazing. It's really, really, really good. Like it's very much in line with all of the satirical stuff that goes on in the show itself. They are like the worst corporation possible. It's they combine every terrible corporation into one mega terrible corporation. And
Hmm.
so they released this little, I mean, you can kind of see it on the link here. I'm going to put it on whenever I edit this. But it's talking about eggs, Vought brand eggs, right? And how there are no woke yolks, right? And that they're looking for the whitest shells. And they're only $19.99 a dozen.
Right.
So
Oh my goodness.
so this there's like 20 things being said in this one little ad. And of course, who's the poster person on this? Who's the poster person? It is Firecracker. Or what they used to call, what was it? Lauren Bober. What they called her. She like something Barbie. I forget what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Or NRA Barbie or whatever. This is
Hmm.
definitely Proud Boys Barbie here. That's who
Oh yeah.
she is. And so everything about this is perfection. I have a little more to say, but Corey, like go off. I know this was aimed and hit you exactly where it was supposed to, right?
Oh, look, man, this boy's ad is poking fun at corporate and political propaganda, and may I say, like real world culture wars over this woke branding. And it's funny how Vought is making this like outrageous price, making it seem like a bargain, while throwing this pointless anti woke messaging. I look at this ad and I'm like, this thing has the nerve to say it's $20 and then the freshest, whitest shells. It's funny, man. I was like, this is absolutely absurd. Oh, and they say historically low. That they made sure to put that in quotes too. So this, I mean, I just gotta love the boys. The way that they do this in such a way that it just kind of pokes fun at this corporate and political propaganda and this woke type thing. I thought this was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it's like I said. There's like I said. There's 20. I'm being facetious, but like a whole bunch of different things here. Like the price of eggs was the reason why some people said they wanted to vote for Trump, right? But there's also combining that with the ridiculous high price combined with putting basically racist Barbie here on the front
Mm-hmm.
cover to make it
Yeah.
okay to spend that much, because now look who's in charge. Like, oh, actually
Mm-hmm.
1999 is a bargain. Whereas if if the other side had won, it's ridiculous, right? Then
Right.
if you got to throw racist Barbie in there, well, obviously you got to reference the fact that she's a racist. So freshest, whitest shells, right? No woke yolks, which is also hilarious because you remember from last season, there was the whole V52 where they had like the whole thing with the Vought, uh the MCU pastiche basically, and they brought up the black heroes, and they're like, we're all woke as hell, right? So they're playing both ends of it. This is all, and of course, the people that this is aimed at, that is making fun of, are going
Yeah.
to completely miss that this is all about them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I
agree.
I just wanted to pull that up because, god dang it, these these guys, like, and Amazon is behind this. I'm like, y'all really are,
Really?
yeah, yeah. What's the thing is, you got to think about this. Amazon's like, I'm gonna get paid either way. I'm gonna get paid over the anti-woke shit. I'm gonna get paid over the woke shit.
Right.
I'm gonna get paid off all of it. Whatever I gotta do, give me that cash. So shout out to social media people over for the boys. That was great.
Yeah.
I
Very
adored
clever.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. So let's move on to let's do some rumors. This to me is like, this is like a late breaking thing. I just literally saw, so I'm still gathering my thoughts on it. But we all love the X-Men. X-Men 97 last year was the truth, shall we say. It delivered, it over delivered even. Like, it over delivered so much that our expectations are sky high for season 2, and really for anything else animated that the Marvel Studios does. So that being said, we're all looking forward to, after Deadpool and Wolverine, we're all looking forward to, hey, when is the X-Men coming in? Y'all swear this is happening. You keep doing these little things here and there. Where are they? We even saw at the end of the Marvels, we saw an alternate universe where the X-Men are there, right? So we got to see some live action stuff. When are we going to get them properly? Well, so we get some a rumor from Jeff Snyder, who, he's got a decent track record. He's not always right, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he gets decent amount of stuff right. And the rumor is that they will have official casting announcements and director reveals within months, with the aim of beginning filming in 2026 for a release in 2027. Now, look, I'm no expert at Hollywood. I have a layman's understanding of, maybe a slightly better than layman's understanding of the way things go. But if this is real, that's a hell of a turnaround for an X-Men movie. A 1-year turnaround from filming to, or unless of course they start filming January of 26 and then release at the end of 27. That's a pretty decent, but that's still a hell of a turnaround, because
Mm-hmm.
you know that's a lot of CG that needs to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
But this idea that they are ready to, they're going to be ready to cast, announce cast and director within, I would assume within 4 or 5 months, somewhere around summer maybe,
Yeah.
which means that they have their eyes directly on some people. Like, they've been, like, reaching out to people. They have a definite list, and no one said shit about it until right now. How did they keep their lid on this? I don't even know, because this is
True.
major. They couldn't keep a lid on freaking Spider-Man No Way Home 2 years in advance.
That's true.
So I don't know what. So I guess, Corey, what I want to know, get your thoughts on, is this a realistic time frame? But more to the point, can they? I guess maybe my question is, how big of a challenge is this for them, given the expectations and the state of the MCU, and the fact that the multiverse saga is gonna just barely be pulling into the station. Like 27 is just gonna be barely pulling in the station.
Yeah, I think 2027, that's a man, they're pushing it with 2027 because you make some really good points. The fact that they're going to try to write a script, find a director, do casting, direct the film, post-production, CGI, it's just a lot to do. The only thing I could see them possibly getting this done is if they had already had this in the works, but we're just hearing about little specks of this already being done. But they already know who they're going to cast. They already know who the director is. They probably already been working on a script, but I don't think so. Very seldom that happens. So 2027 is a tough turnaround. Would I like to see it in 2027? Absolutely. Hell yes. I want to see it now, especially after seeing X-Men 97. But the thing is, it's like I'm salivating at the mouth for X-Men. So I can see it fitting in the current MCU state, primarily because they've been touching on a little bit of the multiverse. Now they're not doing it nowhere near like they did in Stage 4, which kind of got a little messy, but they're doing it just enough with like we're going to talk about later with the Fantastic Four and other like Deadpool and Wolverine, like touching in little pieces. I think it can absolutely fit. But how they're going to do all of that, because it's not like they have one character, it's the X-Men. It's a lot to take on, but if anybody can do it, I think Marvel can do it if they focus on just one project instead of trying to do too much at one time.
Yeah. Well, my understanding is they have been working on the script and the story for a while. I don't doubt that because they've been trying to figure out how to integrate them anyway for quite some time, pretty much since they acquired the characters 5 years ago. So I can see them figuring that out. And also, it's pretty clear that Secret Wars is going to figure into integrating all of the new characters into this because, Fantastic Four, they're in their own universe. The multiverse is a thing thanks to Loki and we've seen Multiverse Madness and all that other stuff. The X-Men mutants as we understand them don't exist in the MCU. But they do exist in the Fox universe, which is clearly a separate place because Deadpool. So the thinking seems to be that Secret Wars will be basically a canon event where all of the multiverses kind of collapse into one single continuity and you move forward from there. And if that's the case, coming out in 2027 would be basically the postscript to the multiverse saga, just kind of like tying a bow on it. I think they can do it if they have the script now, or at least the working script right now. If they are, if Sarah Haley Finn, Haley Finn, who is the casting director for Marvel Studios, if she and her subordinates are hot on the trail of everybody, which could explain some things I've been seeing on social media about people suggesting certain people for different roles. Maybe that's the source of this, not just fan casting, but maybe there's a little something leaking out into the internet. Not sure, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think they can do it. So, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the developments of this. I'm sure we're going to hear about X-Men. It's happening. We just need to find out, how soon are they going to do this and get some confirmation. We'll know in a few months, I think. Let's stick with rumors. Actually, let's talk about a couple other rumors. One of them is that Miles Morales is slated to make his live action debut. Now, mind you, this is a no shit situation. No shit. Like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't they? He's popular and animated enough that he's a name that people want to see. And people have sort of speculated about this since we saw the Prowler, or at least his uncle, before pre-Prowler, in what was it? Spider-Man Homecoming. So, and of course, we saw Donald Glover again reprising that role in a more comics accurate version in Across the Spider-Verse. So it's been on the table this whole time. The question has been, how do we do it? And the other question has been, is Sony going to let it happen? Right? They're like, they got their own live action thing and everything. Of course, they want to be in control of their live action, universe. But then Madam Web and Craven happened. And I might
Yeah.
even add Venom The Last Dance happened. Now you may have liked it. It was fine to me. But those three things happened, and suddenly I feel like Sony's a lot more open to this idea that hey, maybe Marvel can do a live action thing. Um, maybe he can, and maybe Secret Wars may be the way in.
Mm.
So there's two parts to this rumor, and I think both of them are worth discussing. One, how badly do we want to see Miles Morales in live action, and is Shamik Moore, has he burned his bridge to do that? Two,
Mm.
how much does Sony want to integrate their I they control the IP, the Sony verse, the Sony Spider Verse, into the MCU? Do they want to attach their caboose to that gravy train? So what do you think about that?
Look, Mo, I have been waiting a long time for a live action Miles Morales to hit the big screen. Ever since you said it, ever since Donald Glover was in Spider-Man Homecoming and he said, I have a nephew around here. My ears perked up immediately. I was like, I am ready for this. I'm ready for it now. Let's figure this shit out. And I think it's great that if they're planning to do it, they're planning to do it right after Secret Wars. You couldn't figure out a better time to get Miles Morales live action into this universe. The only thing that gives me pause is Sony Universe. I'm just like, just let Marvel do it. Stop fucking up these Spider-Man movies and these characters. Just let Marvel do it. I'm hoping after the flops that they've had recently that they just go ahead and decide, all right, Marvel, just go ahead, MCU, Kevin Feige, take this from us and run with it because we need Miles Morales done right on live action. We really need this.
Yeah, and they have the blueprint there. They really do. You know,
Yes.
so I think I agree. One, yes, we need Miles Morales. And there are no, there's no end to the number of young actors that could play the part. They got the blueprint for it from Across the Spider Verse, but I would really
Hmm.
love to see Miles Morales have a story that wasn't about other Spider Man, but just about him and becoming who he's supposed to be.
Hmm.
Hell, I would be fine if they just did what they did in Ultimate Comics, and he takes over the mantle because Peter Parker. They had basically the first Into the Spider Verse was that,
Hmm.
but then they brought
Hmm.
multiverse shit into it, and they kind of like short circuited his growth without all of this other help from other people. And it's a good story. I love the Spider Verse movies, but they can tell his story without adding the multiverse stuff into it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. As far as the whole, Sony letting go yeah, they should. They fucked it up. They've proven that they don't have what it takes to make it happen. Um, even though they did well enough with their Spider-Man, Spider-Man movies, they don't have what it takes to pull this off. Mainly because, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, they never decided to actually do the Marvel method, which is get a guy or girl or whatever, a
Hmm.
person or persons, to figure out where they want the entire thing to go, and
Yes.
then start putting the pieces together, one movie at a time. Let's as a collective get this together, make sure it's as awesome as possible. But instead, they did the DC method, which was, let's let's throw all the good characters at it and see what happens. And also, let's just make things. Let's just make things.
Yeah.
Let's have a plan, and the plan is to make things. So it's pretty clear that the biggest Sony hits of the last 10 years have been Marvel Studios projects. So
Hmm.
why fight against fate?
Yeah.
And also, they don't have to do nothing. They don't got to do nothing. They literally,
Exactly.
all they got to do is say, here's our money to produce it. Y'all make
Hmm.
things. Write us a check. We good, right?
Yeah,
Billion
they just
dollars,
got to
cool.
sit on their ass, prop their feet up, and just collect their money. That's all
Yeah,
they got to do. We just need Spider-Man.
The only downside that Sony has to this, I will say this: this is the real downside that Sony has to it, is the merch. Marvel has all of that merch is them. I think Sony may get a cut of the movie merch, but pretty much Marvel and Disney gets the merch. So that's the only downside to it. But as far as when it comes to the money from the box office, Sony gets the vast majority of that. And so it's a win-win for both. Believe it or not, Disney will like that because the merch is serious. Because they can sell they sell it at Disney World, on Disney, .com. They can sell it on Disney Plus. Like, it's real. Yeah. And it's evergreen because people love Spider-Man. So I don't know. I think that this is real, but we'll see. We'll let you guys know more about it when and if we hear more. Yet another Marvel rumor, and this is it's gonna take a minute because we got some stuff to say about this. It seems like Kevin Feige has a major decision in his mind. There is a major step forward or backwards, depending on how you feel about this person. That could have major implications on on what Marvel Studios does.
So, it's so funny because we talked about this about a year ago, and it's come around again.
It's been a year. We talked about this a year ago. You may have noticed, Jonathan Majors is back. Back not with a vengeance, but he's back to work. Magazine Dreams is coming out. Disney finally decided, like, oh, the coast is clear. Oh, all right, okay, the heat's off. All right, we can go ahead and sell this thing. Let's put it out because they're contractually obligated. Mind you, they're contractually obligated to release this theatrically. So I get it, but they want it. They obviously negotiate. Like, let's just push it off. Too much heat on. We're not going to make any money. I still don't think they're going to make any money either. But we'll see how good the movie is. But Jonathan Majors he did what we said he should do. Go do your 52 weeks of stuff that you had, the anger management and everything. Take a year, lay low, don't make no statements, I think the only thing he's done is he showed up for something, like an award. He won an award or something like that. People sort of criticize him for it. And, he's still kind of on his, MLK, Coretta Scott King shit.
Oh, yeah.
Messiah complex shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you can act real good. Let's chill.
I was thinking the same thing.
Just like chill out. I don't see you leading no marches, but whatever, it's fine. Remember when you and I talked about this, our conclusion was essentially, this is a bit much. I get it. He's got a stink on him. But it feels like it was a bit much. But hey, he did some stuff. He was part of an altercation, and when whatever you look at it, it's not a good look. And I wasn't caping for him, but I also wasn't like trying to throw him in the wood chipper either. Just that, hey, take some time off. You can recover. Some people have done worse, way worse, way worse, and they've come back from it. You'll be fine. Shoot. Army Hammer is talking about making a fucking return now.
Wow.
Yeah, so like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
I'm like, his situation is not that serious. Not as, maybe not that serious is not the word. Not as serious as we've seen from other people who have gotten a second, a third, or 15th chance. So it seems like now's the time to start discussing. Can we bring Jonathan Majors back into the MCU? It seems Kevin Feige is thinking very, very hard about this because he wants to, resolve and tie off the Kang storyline, which at this point is essentially stillborn. Before it's really gotten anything, stillborn's probably not the word. It's in purgatory. Before it can, which is really kind of the same thing, I suppose, but it's in purgatory until, and which I hate because it's a character that I like and I want to see more done with. And so there's a possibility it's going to happen. So that's a long preamble for basically saying, do you think this is real? Should they do it? How you feel about it?
Well, I would have never thought we would be talking about this again. But then again, I'm not surprised because they did the same thing with James Gunn. I remember James Gunn had some tweets and some things that were on social media and they fired him, but they brought him back. But they brought him back after things had kind of cooled off. And I don't necessarily have a problem with this, with him coming back, because if they do it, as long as it makes sense for our story. But I don't see them using Jonathan Majors as Kang in the same capacity as they were planning to do before, like being the big bad, because clearly they can't go that route. But I could see them using him in a smaller capacity, especially since they do have upcoming storylines that will involve characters from different universes, and Kang is a good character to insert for that. So I can see it very possible, and I can understand why Kevin Feige is like, all right, let's make sure the dust is cleared now. Okay, let's see what we can do with Kang to kind of tie this bow up on what we tried to do in the very early parts of you know, um part 4 or
Yeah,
whatever that. Yeah, phase 4.
yeah. Well, I mean, I want to see it happen. Like I said, Kang's a good character. I don't want him to just be abandoned, like unwanted, like puppy on the side of the road. Um, and I also think that a year later, without all this social media and
Mhm.
coverage online and everything, and let's call it for what it is, a lot of really serious virtue signaling. There was a lot of it. I
Mhm.
mean,
Oh yeah.
if you really looked into the case and what was going on, it essentially boiled down to, well, he was a little too vigorous and kind of I don't even say defending and warding off this woman. And as I said last year, unfortunately, that's the double standards that are inherent in our society because we're a male dominated society, come with
Mhm.
sometimes a blowback, which is
Mhm.
when it's a domestic violence situation. If you're a man, you're considered in the wrong unless there's some real serious evidence like that,
Mhm.
you were the victim. So
Yeah.
it just is what it is. But it's not enough to, in my opinion, to keep anybody out of the industry. Not
Mhm.
if Robert Downey Jr. can come back on what he came from and Jonathan
Exactly.
Majors can't, then that tells me that black men don't get second chances
Yeah.
and white
Yeah.
men get a million. And I know people don't want us to make it about race, but how the fuck can I? When it's clear,
Mhm.
again, his shit is he's got video and stuff as part of his case. So
Yeah.
there's video and all that seemed to be going against him is all of these, this hearsay shit about rumors about him and that people saying that he sucks or whatever. But the actual offense in question, there's video evidence that he wasn't an aggressor or anything like that, right?
He was running away from her in the
Yeah, so I
video.
mean, there's at least enough of a case that like if the roles were reversed, this wouldn't have even been a fucking case. But
Mhm.
again, double standards in our society. I get it. I'm not even arguing about it. I'm just saying that there has been plenty of worse people getting second and third chances in the industry, and Jonathan Majors should be afforded one as well. And so I hope that this is what happens. That this isn't just a rumor, but it's something that's actually going to happen,
Mhm.
and that he gets a chance to just like leave it on the field as opposed to having this all this off field shit kind of impact the MCU and his career in the MCU. But either way, we'll see. Keep an eye on this. We'll let you guys know if we find out any more information. Um, I wanted to talk. This I saw this today, and it's a very short article. But I want to say somebody's feelings got hurt. Somebody's feelings got real. I mean, just got. And I get it. You work hard. You've worked hard in an industry for 30 plus years. You created some iconic characters. You know, um, you may have even learned how to draw feet correctly eventually in your career, but you helped start one of the major comic book companies of all time. Um, you are responsible for all the pouches and like guns and weird shit in the X-Men comics in the late 80s and the early 90s. You did some shit in the industry. So I will be fair to you, Rob Liefeld. If your fee-fees were hurt by Marvel Studios. But apparently they were so hurt that he's taking his ball and going home. Again, people tell me that he's done this before, but he said, I'll never work with Marvel Studios again because of how they treated me when it came to the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. And I was like, you know what? Let me see what this egregious treatment was that you would treat a legend, a comics legend that gave us Deadpool, right?
Mm-hmm.
How dare they treat Rob Liefeld in this way? Rob, tell me, how did they hurt you? Show me on the doll where they hurt you. And so you see, I'm gonna read what the problems he had were. Let me read what the problems were.
He said it too. I was like,
he said, and he said this on his podcast, which I will not listen to because Hollywood Reporter listened to it, so I don't have to. He said they said he detailed a series of perceived slights at July's New York premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, see, they already throwing shade. They already thought because they said perceived slights. Okay, so the shade's already on. Let's see what his problem was. It says at the premiere, Liefeld learned he and his family were not invited to the after party, something he was accustomed to attending. How dare they?
Dare they do that?
Not the after party. I thought not the one. Is it the one where they had the swag bag, so he wasn't going to be able to get swag bags? Oh man,
I know.
Now you have to actually give Christmas presents to people that you buy with your own money. How?
Right.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you that one, Rob. They should have invited you to that. What else? He also felt snubbed by Disney brass, including Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, whom he says was near him on the red carpet but did not acknowledge him. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a fair statement. Maybe he was looking at your feet. Maybe that was the problem.
Or maybe because he's Kevin Feige, he's got a lot of people asking him questions.
Yeah.
And he might not have recognized you being there.
I mean, you do. I mean, look. Look, Kevin Feige was very busy that day. And like I said, he was just looking at your feet and he didn't see them. Maybe that was the problem. They were obscured behind something. I don't know. But you know what, Rob? I feel you on that. Getting passed over. Was it like that Obama Key and Peele sketch where he was dapping up all the black people, but like he saw you and he was just like, and just moved on? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fair. Oh, he said it was meant to embarrass, diminish, and defeat me.
I'm sorry. This is some of the. Oh my god!
But wait, there's more. His list of grievances. We got to get through them because these are very serious, and we need to understand why he is deciding not to work with Marvel. Let's go. Liefeld said he posed for professional photos with creatives on the Deadpool and Wolverine team, but later was told by his publicist that those photos were deleted. He believes they were only taken as a courtesy and not intended to be used, though other photos featuring Liefeld alone as well as with his family appeared as part of Disney's Getty press portal from the event. So clearly, I think what happened here is, this is just, I'm trying to be charitable to Disney here. Maybe he just forgot his Life Touch ticket and then they just deleted it automatically. So you got to have that number and you give it to them for pictures. So I think that may be what happened. But again, they could have just been trying to take pictures of his feet too. So I don't know, but you know what, Rob, I will agree. That is that's egregious. How dare they take pictures? Did they delete them out of your iPhone too? That's pretty messed up, man. Like,
You know, anything's possible.
I don't know. It's Disney. So soon after July's premiere, he decided he would cut ties with Marvel, which he believed no longer wanted him around.
Oh
Let's see.
God.
There's more. There's more in here. There's more in here. Um, he wanted to
Man.
make sure he got special credit on Deadpool. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
Look,
Yeah.
this, I will say to I'm making a lot of fun here. I am. But to his credit, Marvel has always been bad about treating creators well. That's true. That's just true. Lottie and I talked about this, and I'm sure you saw about how they don't barely pay nobody for anything. Ed
Yeah.
Brubaker barely made any money, like really didn't get any money for the Winter Soldier, right? He's a major
Mhm.
character, but barely got any money for it. So it is true enough that they don't treat them well. But I'm always thinking about it in terms of money. Look, is my belief, and I remember reading it or hearing this somewhere, and I believe this too, that it's nice to be recognized, but it's way better to be paid. And
Oh
I
yeah.
I feel like Liefeld's been fairly well compensated, reasonably well, because of
Oh
how
yeah.
much Deadpool is in print and how much he's in movies and everything like that. It doesn't
Mhm.
seem like this is a situation where he's mad about money. He's mad about prestige and being next to fame and all this other stuff. He feels like he
Mhm.
should be at a certain level, and Marvel's like, yeah, but no. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
basically.
but I mean, yeah, you okay, maybe, but no.
Yeah.
I don't know, Corey. I made a lot of fun. I
Look.
I dominated that a lot. I just, what do you think about? Is what does he have any feet to stand on in this?
Look, I was laughing right along with you because look, this guy is the creator of Deadpool. I can't take anything away. He's done a lot in the industry, and just they aren't rolling out the royal treatment for him. I mean, you're not laying out roses like King Jafar and Coming to America. You're not carrying his umbrella. You're not brushing his teeth. How dare you, Kevin Feige? How dare you? But but nah, in all seriousness, this guy's pissed, but he's pissed for all the wrong reasons. I mean, come on, bro. Just get over it. Like it is not that serious. This when I read this, it was wasn't even believing what I was reading. I was like, this shit is funny.
Yeah.
This shit is funny. But he's expected to be treated like a king, and he just, bruh, you ain't him. Just get over it. I mean,
He's
granted, he
yeah.
does stuff for the industry, but nah,
I mean,
stop it.
my understanding is he's had on and off relations. I mean, and he's recently done work for them. You know,
Mhm.
actually, drawing for them again. So, I mean, I guess when the money's right or whatever. So, I mean, look, I like Rob Liefeld. I like on the real. I liked his art. His art was some of the first I was exposed to start when I started
Mhm.
to read comics. So I'm never going to take that away from him. I think sometimes, for better or for worse, writers and creators are, they're necessary evils for the rich and powerful,
Mhm.
right? They're or
Mhm.
in this case, the studio heads, because nobody's flocking to see Rob Liefeld. They're flocking to see Chris Evans. They're flocking to
Right.
see Ryan Reynolds. And because, even though they're just guys that, well, to be fair to Ryan Reynolds, he did do a lot to create the stories for these
Oh,
movies.
yes,
He's
absolutely.
very, very intimately involved. But,
Mhm.
Hugh Jackman, he reads scripts and he acts, but he doesn't
Mhm.
create these things. So I get it. I wish there was a way that we could recognize the creators in a more, in a way that affords them the same level of respect that the actors get. But that's just not the
Yeah.
world we live in. So,
I only
um,
know one. I only know one, and that was Stan Lee.
Yeah,
I think he's probably the only guy that I know that was a creator and writer, that was looked at on that fame
yeah.
level. Like when Stan Lee showed up, everybody was trying to get photos with him. That's the only guy.
And
If
that,
you're not Stan Lee, you're
and,
everybody
and
else.
it was for a reason. One, because he was a great salesman. Give Stan.
True.
Stan was a great salesman, and
Mhm.
also for years we only knew him. Literally,
That's
we
true.
only knew him. Only comics people knew him, but he was the face of Marvel Comics for decades.
Mhm.
Editor
Yeah.
in chief for decades. And he was also one of the guys that was trying to get Marvel on TV and cartoons and all that. So the
Hmm.
people in Hollywood do actually know, they've known Stan for decades, for
Hmm.
literally since like the 60s and 70s. And he's been trying to get this stuff on, all the good stuff that happened, all the bad stuff that
Hmm.
happened, that he was a name, right? He was a point of
Yeah.
connection, to the point where someone like Feige has real genuine affection for the man and
Hmm.
saw it as a point of honor to have him come up and bless all of the projects with his presence. So that's
Hmm.
why he is who he is. Now, Rob Liefeld does not have that cachet in the industry at all. Rob Liefeld, he is not Stan Lee. He could
Yeah.
be, but like I don't think it's likely to happen.
Yeah.
That said,
I agree.
I get, feeling a little salty about, things you've come to expect and you don't get them. I get it. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm making fun, but Rob Liefeld, I'll let you know I have no ill will at all towards you. I actually respect you quite a bit, even though all the jokes I've made. I do respect what you've done for the comics industry and the characters you created. And if you feel some type of way about this, I get it. But like, you are gonna work at Marvel again. Give it 10 years, give it 5
Hmm.
years, give, that checkbook looking funny. You'd be like, hey, y'all got some work? I can do it,
Yep.
I can do it, right? I got you, right?
I'm over here, guys. you know. Yep.
So anyway, Rob, best of luck to you. I'm sure, after you, get that residual check from Deadpool and Wolverine, you'll probably feel a little bit better about it.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of ill will between a creator and a company, and this is the estate of Joel Schuster, one of the Siegel and Schuster, of course, being the creators, co-creators of Superman, the OG, and I might even say the GOAT superhero.
Hmm.
Um, they got screwed out of their rights years and years and years ago, right? It wasn't until the 70s, after a lot of comics creators were like, this is messed up. Y'all really need to do right by these guys. Basically, embarrassed DC into doing the right thing. And I might even add, embarrass DC into doing the right thing by their creators, because they are objectively better. They treat their creators better than Marvel does. This is objectively true. And you can also hear this from the creators that do get money from them. So years ago, there was a lawsuit in the 70s and whatever. It was finally settled, rights and everything about Superman and all that for the estate. And by then, the two men were quite old. And, they got to enjoy some of the fruits of their labor later on in life. But we think, all right, it's all taken care of. Warner Brothers Discovery owns the Superman trademark outright, whatever copyright outright. Cool. So James Gunn proceeds to make a Superman movie, and he's building out the DC universe. Superman being, the marquee player, of course, in the DC universe. Well, there's a snag. And it's about money, of course, and it's about rights, and it's about some shit I had zero idea about. But apparently, the state of Joel Schuster wants to block the release um, of Superman in certain territories, and the territories appear to be, former UK, or the UK or former UK territories, where their copyright is a bit different, right? It's a little bit different, and the reversion of right, because about the reversion of rights from if you do work for hire or whatever, they'll have the copyright for a
Mhm,
certain time, then it reverts back to the person who created it. Now, apparently,
mhm,
that happened 4 or 5 more, I don't know, more years ago
mhm,
in Canada, UK, Ireland, and Australia. Like I said, for Commonwealth, basically countries.
mhm.
And so, technically, any DC stuff that involves Superman from that point that were released in those should have been as a part of I guess the Schuster estate should have had some compensation for that or some control over it. So it's essentially that DC doesn't have the right to exploit the Superman IP in those territories. And so they're basically suing to stop Superman from being released in those areas. Um, I don't know, man. This isn't something that I want to hear because I'm fucking excited as hell for Superman, and it's not going to stop them. By the way, it's not going to stop the movie coming out, right? But this does put a bit of a wrench into the smooth rollout of the DCU, and at least for our brothers and sisters in the countries where they spell color with a U for some reason, they might not get to see Superman, you know, when it's supposed to come out. I don't know. What do you think about this? Should
Yeah.
should they be worried about it?
Look, man, the battle over Superman is real. I mean, like you said, he is one of the most popular, if not the most popular fictional character of all time. I mean, he is the OG of superheroes. He's the GOAT. And you name it, motion picture, television, merchandise. I mean, it's everywhere with Superman. And this couldn't have happened at a worse time. I mean, especially with James Gunn trying to reboot the DC universe, not the DC, EU anymore. And it couldn't happen at a worse time for James Gunn, DC, and Warner Brothers. So this movie is supposed to come out this summer. I really do hope they come to some conclusion because it really sucks. This was one, if I've read correctly, this was the most watched and viewed thing that Warner Brothers and DC had ever had. And the fact that it cannot be seen in these territories and in some of these countries really sucks. So I hope they figure out something, man, because we need this movie to come out in all of its glory and nothing really hold it back.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty clear that this is about money. it's
Oh,
it's
yes.
it's a, as always, it's a money thing, and they
Mhm.
some lawyer somewhere, and I bet you I can almost guarantee this was a whole they don't even realize what's going on thing, or more to the point, it's been such small change that it's slipped under the radar.
Mm.
But this is a huge thing. This movie, I'm not saying Superman's going to be $1 billion movie, but it could potentially it
Mhm.
has the potential to be $1 billion movie. And
Yeah, I agree.
if they are don't have the rights in those territories, I mean, they're going to lose out on millions of dollars. It's not I mean, those
Mhm.
territories aren't the biggest, but they're pretty sizable.
Mhm.
So, would they decide not to release them there? I think what's most likely going to happen is that they're just going to go ahead and be like, here, have a percentage in these
Mhm.
territories only, not here, but in these
Mhm.
territories, you get a percentage because otherwise we just won't release it there at all. And it'll be your
Yeah.
fault. We'll tell, or,
Mhm.
we can go to court if you just say, well, we just won't release it there, and then
Yeah.
that'll be that. But I think cooler heads will prevail. Nobody wants to leave money on the table. Nobody wants to leave million like potential. If I'm not mistaken, for those territories, this is at least $50 million. At
Yeah.
least at
50
least
million.
at least 50 on the low end, potentially
Mhm.
more. If this is $1 billion film, you're talking about maybe 100. So
Yeah.
they're not gonna leave that money on the table. They'll figure that out. Warner
And the
Brothers,
last I
yeah.
heard, Mo, $50, $50 million is
Yeah,
$50 million.
50 million.
You know?
You can ransom Chelsea Carter for that. What was that? Chelsea
Kelsey
Grant,
Clinton, Chelsea,
Chelsea Clinton.
Chelsea, who is that? Chelsea Clinton. Yes.
So we're gonna keep an eye on this. I'm sure we'll find out soon that they're gonna figure this out. We'll let you guys know all about it then. So that's all of our news for this week, which means it's time for some reviews. We're gonna review Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episodes 1 through 5, and then Fantastic Four First Steps, the trailer. So, Corey, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. By the way, a show that was if I'm not mistaken, it was announced 3 or 4 years ago. It was announced like near the beginning
Yeah.
of Disney Plus,
Mhm.
like very near the
Mhm.
beginning of Disney Plus. So it's been in the works for some time now. COVID obviously kind of threw a wrench into the plans. Uh, if I remember, also this was supposed to be an MCU project. I mean, literally, it
Mm.
was supposed to be the freshman year of Peter Parker's life in the MCU. And
Oh,
so, but
wow.
in the process, some things happen
Mm.
and they basically retooled it because when I remember when Lottie and I were first talking about, we saw the kind of the concept art and the character art,
Mhm.
and I was like, that don't look like Scorpion. That don't look like anybody that's been in the MCU because but this
Mhm.
was supposed to tell the story of Peter Parker, his first year of fighting crime before he meets Tony Stark and all that other stuff that's going on.
Right.
Well, then it
Right.
soon came out, hey, this is going to be in an alternate universe, an alternate continuity. And, it's not AMC, it's MCU related, but not MCU.
Mhm.
All right, cool. I think what everyone saw was all the concept art for the different villains and everything. They're like, oh, could this be like, Ultimate Spider Man Spectacular, something like that? I was very excited. Then, of course, there was, a week ago, Hudson Thames said some dumb shit, and it cooled some people off. And I was like, yeah, he's said some dumb shit, but let's see what's going on because it has a good cast. Coleman Domingo is in there as Norman Osborn. We've
Mhm.
got some serious names attached. Let's see what they got going on. And I liked the trailer. I thought the trailer was cool. I don't know how you felt about the trailer. I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it was good too.
Yeah, so some people have reservations, but a lot of people have gone on
Mhm.
and watched it. We watched it, watched the first 5 episodes, and I want to get your thoughts. What did you think about these first 5 episodes? Did it catch you, and are you planning to keep watching?
Let me just say, man, right out the gate, I am a huge Spider-Man fan. So coming into this, I don't have certain expectations, but there's certain things that I am looking for as far as making sure that they get that particular piece right. I gotta feel that it's like a Spider-Man. And what they are doing with this series is really smart, really fun. I mean, I love it. If you like the MCU, particularly phase 1 through 3 of the MCU, and the way that they sort of took Spider-Man at exactly the point that we met Spider-Man in the regular MCU timeline, and just with a series of different choices has kind of just projected him in this different direction, but having things kind of still play out, like the airport battle at the Civil War, happened, and the Sokovia Accords. I mean, with all of that happening, not only do we get this sort of sense that things are happening with that timeline, but things with the Sokovia Accords are affecting him in a different way than it was in the other MCU. And I just absolutely love how they're piecing all of this together. There's so much in these 5 episodes. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, and I think that what they're doing right is they're doing a really good job of going right down the line, perfect, with having a balance of this 100% homage to the classic OG Spider-Man with the Steve Ditko look, while telling this very fresh and different story that feels really new, uh while managing things with a slightly skewed version of the MCU. And
Mhm.
they're killing it in these 5 episodes. And they're really doing a good job. I cannot wait to see the rest of this series.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do anything except co-sign everything you said. Um, I like you. The call out to Ditko is absolutely on point. Um, the MCU adjacent, things that like it. The whole series essentially pops off with, a multiverse incursion essentially.
Mhm.
That and Miles Morales kind of gets this too in the Spider Verse, but a spider from a different universe gives him his powers. And as a result of that incident, he also does not meet Ned, does not meet MJ, doesn't go to Midtown. He is at a different school with a different cast of characters, but he's still the same Peter Parker. The characterization of Peter Parker, spot on. Like if you like the old school comics, spot on. If you like the animated version of him, spot on. Like his teenage self, great. It doesn't fall into a lot of the stupid tropes of high school. It actually is very refreshing. He has a new best friend, Nico Minoru, who, if you know the comics, you know who she is. If you don't know the comics, she's just this cool girl that's his friend, right? And they're besties. Yeah. He meets, he becomes friends with a guy that's the boyfriend of the girl he has a crush on. And he's really friends with him, Lonnie Lincoln, who, if you know the comics, you know who he is too. I'm going to keep saying this a lot in my review. If you know the comics, you'll know who this is. And I just watched episode 5 today. If you know the comics, you know who Mikhail Sitsovich is, right? If you know the comics, you know who Dr. Octavius. You know what I'm saying?
Dr.
Octavius. So they this is Jeff Trammell, by the way, is the creator, showrunner, and head writer on the show. A black guy, right? And he knows his shit. Him and his writers know their shit, because we get, within the course of 5 episodes, you get something like 10 or 11 either outright villains that we know that are Spider-Man villains, or references to them, or kind of like the prequel, if you will, to their story as villains, right? They race bend Osborns, and it's not a problem, right? They change Norman Osborn's whole trajectory as far as we can tell. Yeah. Even though he's a billionaire industrialist and probably shady, but as far as we can tell, he's Peter's Tony Stark, right?
Yep.
We get references to the MCU straight up. When he meets Norman Osborn is a shot-for-shot remake of when Tony Stark meets Peter, and right? So we get a little bit of everything. It's got kinetic action, great fight scenes, right? The art direction is on point. I know some people don't like the animation so much. I'm fine with it. It's pretty cool. I love it. But the art direction's great. The voice acting is on point. There is here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that really kind of got me. The side characters are being developed beautifully. Lonnie Lincoln's whole story is amazing. We can see we know where it's going. We know exactly where it's going, right? But it's being developed beautifully, and they are the little nuggets, the little breadcrumbs. The Easter. These aren't even Easter eggs. The breadcrumbs that are leading to other characters like that. We know who Matt Gargan is, right? You and I know this, but people that are watching for the first time, they may not know. But they are laying out these, again, Mikhail Sitsovich. If you know who he is, you know what's coming up, right? Dr. Otto Octavius. We know where all of that's going. And then we still get the feeling of like what we got from Homecoming, where Ned is, we don't have Ned, but we have Harry, right?
Yeah.
And he still is going to serve that. So it all...
he's the guy in the chair.
Yeah, it all blends beautifully. When I tell you, at the end of episode 4, when he walks out of the shadows and is like, oh, I got some tech for you. And I was like, I jumped up. When I tell you I jumped up, I'm glad my neighbors were at work, because boy, they were probably like, this crazy ass dude next door won't shut up about Otto Octavius, because he's that guy. I'm just this show is great. It's
written
great,
so well. It is.
I will admit, I was a little, I don't want to say let down, because there's a lot, they were like, this is as good as X-Men 97. I was like, don't be saying shit to me like that, because you can't. If you better bring. And the first 2 episodes, I was like, these are cool. I want to see what's going on, but I wasn't blown away. 3 through 5, bam. I'm 100% in. This show is
Yeah.
so damn good, and we got 3 episodes next week and then 2 the week after that. So they are like, they're speed running us through this. I would love to have watched this week to week, but the way they're rolling it out, I'm still able to kind of get the week to week thing. I need more of
You know,
this. I
I
need
do
more of
too.
this.
I was actually about to talk about that week to week. I was actually thinking to myself, I'm so used to watching everything week to week. I was actually thinking to myself, I kind of like that they're not spoon feeding us with this one. They're giving us chunks. And I'm like,
Hmm.
is this something new that they're doing? Like they gave us two, then they're giving us three, and now they're giving us three and then giving us two. I'm like, it's almost like we're getting like somewhat of almost a complete story until we get the next set. It's like we're
Hmm.
getting things in acts, act one, act two, act three, and act four, or the
Right.
conclusion. And I love the way they're doing that. I mean, oh my God, I forgot to say, I love the theme song. I love the theme song. Man, the way that they bring in that old school
Yeah.
Spider-Man, but they blend it in with the rap and the hip hop, and oh my, yo, I'm so sold on this show, and my heart breaks with Lonnie Lincoln because they are
Yes.
laying the
Yep.
breadcrumbs,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
They
Yep.
laying the
Yep.
breadcrumbs.
He
Oh
he
my
he's on
God,
he's on the path. You can see it, but
yeah.
and I I talked about it last week on the show. But I mean, Hudson Thames, I'm sorry, man. You're wrong. This shit
Mhm.
is woke as fuck. Like, this couldn't be woker. It's like Lonnie Lincoln's entire storyline is
Story,
woke as
yes.
shit.
Mhm.
Peter is woke as fuck too. Like, I love the one thing I loved about him, because he is Spider-Man. Like, the
Yeah.
writers on this, they know him. They understand his character. That's all I ever want from these things.
Yes.
That one the things that piss me off in various media is when it's clear they don't understand what the character is
Mhm.
about. I still like Man of Steel, but there's a fundamental misunderstanding of Superman that's on display there that just makes me mad, because it's not
Yeah.
correct. And they get him so much. There's a scene in I think it's the first episode where he catches someone who stole some money from a pizza shop, brings her
Yes.
back, and is just like, "Hey, she's just having a hard time. She made a mistake. Just don't make another
Mhm.
one." And like, do you want? I can send her to the police, but like, I think you just let her go. That's him. There's a scene.
Classic.
There's a scene
Yes.
in the 5th episode, or I'm sorry, the 4th episode, where uh, or is it fifth? I can't remember. It's 4th or 5th episode where there's an explosion and the police are chasing some people, and
Mhm.
instead of chasing the bad guys, he stops and saves
Mhm.
people from the explosion, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Spider-Man will always do that, and to the point where
Mhm.
it's exploited by a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
even in being exploited by the bad guy, he still turns it into a win because of how he chooses to prioritize saving life. That's Peter Parker.
Mhm.
Spider-Man is
Yes.
my first superhero, like, icon. The one that brought
Mhm.
me into comics properly, right?
Same here.
And so when people can understand and translate his character correctly, it'll all fall into place, because if you can get his character correct, you're going to get all of his supporting
Mhm.
characters and villains correct. You're going to
Yeah.
and in fact, I will say this, because they show so much attention to and like care to Peter's character and characterizing him correctly, they also show the same to Lonnie and to Harry.
Mhm.
Harry is a lot more complex, and we get shades of it. I want to see that.
Mhm.
I'm cool with all the beating up. I love that too. But really and truly showing, or even Mikhail that we saw in this one, there's some nuance and like depth to his character that we
Yeah.
don't often see with his character when he's, who he is, right? No spoilers to
Right.
people who don't know. And we don't often see that. he's a very blunt and broad character that's really kind of there as a foil, or not even a foil, just kind of a bit of a straw man to beat up. Versus here, there's more to him, and I want to see more of that. That we are sufficient. Look, it's not just that we're grown ups. I think kids can watch this and it'll be perfect. This
Mhm.
will be a great intro to them for Spider Man, but showing them sophisticated characters that aren't just a cardboard cutout, that aren't in a box, that, they're people and they have
Mhm.
lives and they have, wants and desire, they have desires and they have fears and everything like that. And this can be played out dramatically to showcase Spider-Man and why he is who he is, why he's a hero, and how he
Yeah.
inspires other people to be the same. And also who inspires him. That's
Mhm.
I love it. I could keep going. I'm not going to.
I mean, but no, I think you said it best when you are saying it's a great introduction for anybody new. It's kids can. It's a great introduction because you get the core being of who Spider-Man is. Even though in this series, Peter Parker is popular, he's popular, but it doesn't still change who Spider-Man and Peter Parker is. Even though we've normally known Peter Parker kind of be like the outcast and nerd, and he can't fit in, he's popular in this universe, but it still doesn't change who Spider-Man is. And it's a great introduction as far as when it comes to some of the people, like the villains and the characters you have. They're just human beings. They're layered. They have different things about them, the little tidbits of information. It's not just like you're saying a cardboard cutout of this mustache twirling villain or this particular person that just says XYZ. These people are layered, and this is written so damn good. I would encourage anybody to watch this, especially if they're a Spider-Man fan. And if you're not, you need to watch this. It's just that good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys get out there and check that out if you haven't already. If you have, you know what to do. Let us know what you think about this show and our thoughts on it. So our final review for today is going to be, to me, the biggest superhero news of the week. Clearly they had a whole lead up to this thing, uh, which apparently was kind of messed up because it was like an hour's worth of waiting for it and like
Yeah.
leading. I don't know. I was at work. I didn't see any of it. But I did eventually catch it after I got off work and everything, and everyone was buzzing about it online. I even did a discussion with a couple of my threads, friends on the channel. You can check it out to see what we were talking about, our speculation about it. But Fantastic Four First Steps, uh,
Mhm.
the 1 minute teaser, an actual for real teaser, which, as an aside, I want to say thank you, Marvel, for doing this correctly. I am so
Mhm.
damn sick. I'm tired of trailers and teasers just giving away the farm. Like I hate it.
Yes.
I'm there's look, I want to go see and be kind of surprised with what you do. Don't
Mhm.
overplay your hand, man. You don't have to.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
did the right thing. They showed what they needed to show and didn't tell us too much more than that. It was just a teaser. This is coming out in July. They finished filming for it, like I want to say last summer. They filmed over the
Mhm.
summer, so I think it's August they were done filming. So they've had some post production work and everything. And for the premiere, they had the whole, the Fantastic Four crew live on Good Morning America to kind of talk
Yeah.
about it. Uh,
Yeah.
so all that being said, we're comics fans. We know what's up. The normies may not know so much, but I think there was a lot in this for them to really get excited about, to digest, to try to understand what is this that they're seeing. But
Mhm.
also, a lot of the normies have seen the other ones that aren't so great, and so this maybe, I hope, gave them something to really look forward to. What did you think about this trailer, Corey? What and how has it raised your opinion about what Marvel Studios is doing? Because it's pretty clear this is supposed to be a standard bearer for the MCU moving forward.
Yeah, at least from what I've seen with Marvel, everything leading up to this teaser, which you're right, it was an actual teaser. They're showing they have a lot of faith in this project, and for this teaser trailer, I thought it was good. I love this future of yesteryear look. It's giving me like Jetsons, like this retro
Mhm.
futuristic vibe. I like that they're letting us know that they're a family because the Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel. And I love the way that they showed that, like having when they first come into the trailer saying, "Hey, this is where we sit down to eat dinner," and he's walking them through which I think is the Baxter Building. I love the way that they showed Sue Storm's powers. Oh man, I thought they looked good. Johnny always looks good when he flames on. I mean, they've gotten that right, so that's not going to look bad. And this does look good. It looks good,
Mhm.
and I'm happy to see Galactus. I'm finally happy to see Galactus the way he is in the comics instead of this damn cloud in the sky. I mean, because that was ridiculous. But other than that, I only have one little tidbit because I think everything in this trailer, there's so much to pull out of this that is great. We didn't see Reed Richards' powers, but I don't think it's quite necessary because what makes Reed Richards so fantastic is he's the smartest guy in the room. He's extremely intelligent. But the only downside that I saw of this, it's the only downside was the thing. I did feel that he looked a little bit cartoony. It was some parts of when he was moving his mouth, it just didn't look like they got the CGI right. It was
Mhm.
just something not quite there that was kind of off-putting. But I did love how they showed his sadness when he was looking through at the mirror, looking at himself as a human, really feeling that sadness of not being human anymore. And you can almost see Reed Richards' guilt about that when he's talking
Mhm.
to Sue, and like, because he that's one of Reed Richards' things. He feels guilty that he caused this, and that's a major thing with the thing. But after seeing this, all of this teaser trailer, I'm so excited for the official trailer when it finally comes. But I think I think Marvel is on the right track with this one.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I did my trailer reaction. I think the more I've looked at this trailer, well, one, I have all respect in the world for the design team that's behind this movie. They know what
Mhm.
they're on about. Like like you remember you saw the bit where they're getting suited up and ready to go into space. The right stuff, that's a constant, but Apollo 13,
Mhm.
First Man is another one they there was a bunch of things where we've seen where they're doing the space race. It's right on. The cinematography looks really cool. That as you said, the Jetsons. That's exactly what I said. This shit looks like the Jetsons. Which for you young people out there, the Jetsons is a cartoon that came out in the '60s. Was about
Mhm.
people that lived in the future, and we watched it as kids in the '80s because reruns. Reruns,
Yeah.
by the way, for you kids, are when they made us watch old stuff because they didn't want to make new stuff for us. Anyway, it looked like some Tomorrowland shit. It looked like
Mhm.
and I saw some of the worst one of the worst takes I've ever seen about a film at all, but in particular for this film, someone was like, they look like they're just copying Wes Anderson style, and I'm like, so y'all think
Hmm.
that Wes Anderson made? Somebody say, so you think Wes Anderson created the '60s? Exactly. Like the World's Fair existed before. Yeah, if y'all know,
Yeah.
World Fair in the '60s was a thing, and they had this
Mhm.
exact shit. It looked like exactly like that.
I was
Um,
thinking that too when I was watching this, the World's Fair. Yeah.
yeah. It's a silly take. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all, sometimes you can keep your opinions to yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
That being said, I was geeked up about the whole thing. The thing I was geeked up about him. His little. I loved Herbie. Herbie. I'm not even a big fan of Herbie,
Yes.
but I was a big fan of what they were doing with Herbie. It looks so good. Like there's a lot of I can see a lot of thought being put into what they put on the
Mhm.
screen here. It's very clear that this is, even though this is retro futurist, this isn't Mad Men, so women aren't going to be seen and not heard, or uh, window dressing or whatever. Sue Storm is a real character. She's not taking
Mhm.
a backseat to Reed Richards. Um, Reed is not a huge douche like he is in the comics. Like, because in the comics, especially the Silver Age comics that this is a little more based on, he is not a cool person. He like not at all. But they clearly he's a lot more forward thinking or whatever. And
Mhm.
they've just made everything look really dope. Like this alternate world looks really cool. Um, and of course Galactus. Like we're gonna we're gonna get big purple suited Galactus with the horns on it, the little
Yes.
horn helmet,
Hmm.
and he's gonna say "I hunger" and to me my herald and shit like that. It's gonna
Hmm.
happen if that because like Feige loves the Fantastic Four, so I feel like they're not gonna skimp on that. Now, will will the audience jive with that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Fantastic Four is hard to pull off. It's hard to pull off.
I think as long if you understand the characters and what their dynamic is, they are not the X-Men. They are not the Avengers, right? They are their
Right.
own thing. And their dynamic
Hmm.
is a lot different than most superhero teams. But,
Yeah.
more to the point, their adversaries are often these world, ending, people, but also they're weird crazy sci-fi things, right? Because
Hmm.
we saw
Hmm.
John Malkovich in there, and some I've heard that he could be
That's
Red
right.
Red Ghost, and Red Ghost's
Mhm.
whole deal is weird as hell. Like he's got mind power, and he's got trained monkeys and shit. It's some weird shit. This could be an opportunity to bring the Super Scroll, the proper Super Scroll, not that crap from Secret Invasion, in.
Oh yeah. Oof.
This there,
Mm.
I mean, Mole Man, right? There are a
Mhm.
lot of weird ass villains
Yeah.
that the Fantastic Four have dealt with. And it seems like they are the only heroes on their world, and they're a multimedia, corporate kind of package
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
you would have seen back in the 60s or 70s, brand, cereal and shit like that. You saw the kids with the Ben Grimm mask and everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of thought being put into this. And also, shout out to Matt Shackman, who is the director of this. Shackman, of
Mhm.
course, who directed WandaVision. So
Love that.
that's why, and I clocked some of that felt like WandaVision. I'm not
Mhm.
kidding. That some of that felt like WandaVision.
Especially that intro where it was
Yeah,
into like the pain. Yeah,
and
and
remember
then it
there.
eventually
Yeah,
widened out.
yes, exactly that Wanda. I mean, there is some stuff in
Mhm.
here. I have a lot of confidence in this. I'm excited as hell. I'm with you. Can't wait to see the full trailer, so we can see what
Yeah.
this is really about and see Silver Surfer properly. We want to see her properly.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right. It is a female this time.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct. Yeah.
and you want to see her properly and how this relates to the multiverse saga. I have some thoughts. I have some speculation, but I don't want to spoil myself with my fan made ideas. I want them to tell me what's going on. So
Go ahead and put that tinfoil hat on, Mo. Go ahead. Nah, I'm just kidding. Well,
it's
I know after you see the trailer, I'm sure you'll be like, ah, now we can
yeah,
really start to speculate.
exactly. So we're both excited for I can tell. But what did you guys think about this trailer? You should let us know down in the comments. And with that being said, that's all of our topics for this episode. But what did you guys think about the topics we covered? Did we miss something? Did you agree with us, disagree with us? Did you just want to say something nice? If you wanted to troll us, I guess you could do that too, but like I'll just delete it. So I don't even know why you would try. Just don't be that person. But either way, if you want to reach us, talk to us, give us something to think about. You know what to do to get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and threads, super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you're doing that, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other content that we make here. And of course, couldn't do this by myself. Corey Roy answered the call. I put the bat signal, I put the Corey signal out. It was in the sky, and he flew it. He flew in, but did not bring Robin with him because kid sidekicks are weird. Like, don't do that. Don't do that, Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, man. I
Corey,
flew
thank
in with a
yeah.
towel wrapped around my neck, but I got
not
here. I'm
not
good.
Captain Underpants. But Corey, thanks for joining me. Can you let them know where they can reach you on social media?
Yeah, thank you for having me as always, man. You throw that back signal out, I'll come, man. I'll come. You guys can reach me, man, at Corey Roy underscore on Instagram or on TikTok, actually on Corey Roy underscore. Or you can actually check me out as well on my YouTube page, the Geek Spot TV underscore. So yeah, check me out there. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, go show some love. Subscribe, notification, all that good stuff. Comment, just be like, hey, we love the Geek Spot TV. That's what you do. That's a good thing to do, man. So again, once again, thank you, Corey, for joining me. This has been episode 169. I can't believe it, 169 of the Supercast. Join us next week. We're going to be talking, of course, about more news and everything. Probably talk about the next 3 episodes of Spider-Man too, because they're just too damn good. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Corey Roy. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.